Well, Sarah, it's a pleasure to speak to you. I'm a big fan of Shelby Oaks, and I got to see this at Fantastic Fest, a big genre fest in Austin, and so I have to ask you about your Fantastic Fest experience and being there in Austin with a group full of genre fans. What was that like for you?
Oh, it was so fun. The Fantastic Fest audience was amazing. That was actually my first time seeing the new cut of the film. I'd seen a cut of it last year in Montreal at Fantasia Festival, another genre festival. Apparently we love our Fs. I don't know, our F alliterations. But yeah, the crowd at Fantastic Fest was so, you could just everyone was so into it. And it's always fun watching it with an audience and seeing like what hits and what's different, especially as have seen the film a couple times now. It's like seeing how people react. And the Fantastic Fest audience, you could tell, was just like very focused on the film. And that was really cool to see. And there was like a specific moment with Wilson that I think got a laugh that I wasn't totally expecting.
Well, I know one of the things I really liked about it was the blending of kind of genres within. You have like your found footage and your documentary style, and then more traditional. A lot of your role as Riley takes place in the found footage parts of it. So can you tell me a little bit about filming that aspect of the film and what that was like for you? And I know yours kind of took place earlier because you were part of the viral part. There's a lot to it. So I just want to hear
Yeah.
about it from you.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, it was the found footage elements of this film were so fun as an actor to dig into. Um, I was cast and brought on the project back in 2020, so a while ago. And the first things we were shooting were those found footage moments. And the very first time after I was cast and was on set, it was Chris and me, and then the other paranormal paranoids, this like Scooby Doo gang. And that was it. It was only the five of us, which is wild. It was a very, very small group. And we just followed Chris into the woods. He like knew where this like abandoned shed was. And it was just Chris and us filming at this real abandoned shed that he happened to know that was in like this woods. Um, Weirdly, like when I say this out loud to journalists now, I'm like, why, you know, self-preservation or thoughts of that this might not end well never even crossed my mind, which maybe they should have, but it was so fun. And then there was also this element in the found footage that Chris at one point sent me home with a 2008 era camcorder and was like, record anything you want. And I did that and just recorded all sorts of stuff as Riley in character and kind of thinking like, there's no way they're going to use any of this. And then they ended up using a lot of it, which was bizarre to see in the final cut. There's even like footage of me from like a high school play that's in the movie, that I had to like track down this old high school director I worked with. So all the found footage elements, it was a lot of freedom there as an actor to play. And Chris was really generous and kind in how he really welcomed me into that process and let me just play as an
Did,
actor.
did you look to other kind of ghost hunter-esque shows or anything in research for it, or did you kind of want to make it your own? How did you approach that?
Yeah, I've always been a fan of ghost hunter shows. Growing up, I watched this show called A Haunting on, I believe, History Channel, and it was such a fun show, and I traumatized my siblings watching it. Um, and obviously, like there's Mungo Bay, which I know is a big inspiration for Shelby Oaks for Chris, and Blair Witch. And I'm familiar with all that because I'm a fan of found footage and horror and all that. But I wouldn't say it necessarily informed what I was thinking of doing. Most of what I was doing was really much more informed by just trying to be the character and trying to, embodying Riley And that was where the inspiration took place. Also, Chris had such a full vision of this world. 2008 YouTube, it's the era, it's a very nice era of YouTube where like, Charlie bit my finger, and it's a very wholesome part of the internet. And leaning into that, and Chris, with his knowledge as a YouTuber, had so much understanding of that era as well. And yeah, so I was aware of the found footage elements, and that we were drawing from, but I wouldn't say they necessarily informed the performance per se.
And those found footage elements was it the same? Was it the same footage that was filmed for some of those viral marketing pieces that were used in the film, or were they recreated at all, or is it all the same?
Yeah, I mean, what exactly are you referring to? Just so I can answer your
I
question.
just know that some of the found footage styles was shot earlier,
Yeah.
in the process. And so I'm assuming those though are the same pieces that are in the film, that it's all that kind of organic. Like I spoke to your co-star Camille Sullivan, and she told
Mhm.
me that the whole movie was shot sequentially pretty much. So I guess that kind of, for at least from her perspective. So I don't
Yeah.
know if that, was interesting from your performance standpoint or how that affected your experience.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely shot all the found footage first, and that was then used for the Kickstarter. Like I came on before the Kickstarter blew up. So, um, and the found footage in the story happens before
Right.
the main narrative part of the film happens. So yeah, in that aspect, we were filming chronologically, as Camille said, and then even in principal photography, we had a great AD who did do as much as we could in sequence. So you got to build up to the more heightened moments towards the end of the film. So yeah, we were shooting sequentially for a lot of it.
And then you've kind of touched on this and how Chris's vision and how he just had everything so fully realized. But obviously, a lot of us on the criticism side know of him for his movie reviews on YouTube. So can you tell me like what working with Chris was like, how that translated to his direction?
Yeah. Yeah, it was so wonderful. I mean, Chris is an amazing director. I came on not knowing he was this big YouTube movie critic. I think it was another cast member back in 2020 who kind of was like, "Did you know like Chris is kind of a big deal?" And I was like, "What? What's happening?" So I wasn't familiar with that side of him, but I'm sure it's informed like how he approached filmmaking. He knows so much about movies. It's almost intimidating. Him and another producer on the project, Aaron B. Kuntz, know just so much where they can really riff on each other. And it's really impressive just the amount of knowledge they both have, and Chris especially. And yeah, but working with Chris, I mean, him being a director on this movie, he was so generous. I mean, like giving me a camcorder to go home with is incredible. Like that never happens. I'm never given equipment and like go home and film yourself. I mean, granted it wasn't the most expensive equipment, but Chris was just very open and receptive to me trying things, and a lot of the stuff, some of the found footage elements are improvised, so that's obviously so much fun as an actor. And I come from a background as an improviser and a lover of Richard Linklater and Mark Duplass and these filmmakers, that sort of a lot of the filmmaking has to do with improv. So being on set and having that as an opportunity was so amazing, especially with the found footage. And Chris was just, he's very even keeled. Like the person you see on YouTube is the person you get on set. Like he doesn't really get his feathers ruffled. He's just very, which is what you need in a director, because you need somebody who's kind of helming the ship and is going to like make everything feel okay, even when like stuff isn't going okay. And he was so good at that aspect of directing.
I do think that a genre movie like this, with as much style as it has, and the found footage aspect and everything, does kind of have it lays the pathway, I think, for a movie like this to have a little bit of a following. Can you tell me what you're hoping for with this movie, or like what kind of, the potential to find an audience and what you're hoping for there?
Oh, that's such a generous question. I mean, I would love for that to happen, obviously. I Yeah, I mean, mm, I feel like I that's even like above and beyond my wildest dreams if people start to, really want to follow this film. I I hope people go to see it this weekend when it's coming out and support indie cinema. And yes, I mean, if people then are so excited about the project that they want to see more, I would love to be a part of all of that. But I know Chris has some ideas for a prequel and a sequel and what that could do. I think they would probably not involve maybe Riley, but we never know. But yeah, I'm just so excited for people to see it. This project has been such a labor of love, and it's this little movie that could, starting out with, no money, Chris and us in the woods shooting at an abandoned shed, to a neon distributed wide release horror feature just in time for Halloween, is insane. I still can't really wrap my head even around that. So I just hope people go see it.
Well, and there is that crowdfunding aspect of it that you mentioned earlier, and
Yeah.
like kind of creates a built-in fandom in itself of people that supported this.
Yeah.
What is that like?
Oh, it's been so wonderful. The Kickstarter was such a mind-boggling experience. It was the first time where I started to realize that this movie could have legs. Because when I came on the project, it was, it wasn't like that. It was very bare bones. And the Kickstarter, I think the initial goal was like 250,000, and they blew past that in like a day. And then they're like, well, I guess we're gonna try and get some more money. And there's the generosity of people to come out and support Chris and support this film. Because and Chris has talked about this, and I really relate to it too. I think people like to see other people stay in their lane. And I don't always think there's a lot of support for people, say, in Chris's case, going from YouTube movie critic to, filmmaker. And even though that's something he was saying he wanted to do, and I'm somebody who's always worn multiple hats and have a background as a journalist. I've written a book, and yeah, people don't always aren't always receptive to that. And I think seeing that people were supportive of that, especially of Chris, and seeing that they were really excited by that was such a wonderful, wonderful thing. And the Kickstarter backers have been so wonderful. They did all these backer screenings, and friends I have, and I grew up in Ohio. We shot the film in Ohio. Chris is from Ohio. There was an Ohio backer screening that's I had friends at, and people were just saying how what a wonderful experience it was. And it was really important for Chris and Aaron B. Coons, one of the producers on the project, to make the Kickstarter valuable to everyone and really peel back the curtain on what goes into making a movie like this. And there were behind the scenes videos made. I joined the Discord channel kind of as a fly on the wall. And it was just so cool to see all these people who were really excited about filmmaking and were really receptive to joining us on this wild, ridiculous journey.
That's awesome. And before I let you go, I do have to ask, because I've seen you post like pictures in front of the billboard, like the "What Happened to Riley Brennan"
Yeah.
billboard. What is it like to just like your role in the movie, being the center of like the marketing campaign itself for the movie? That has to be so surreal.
It is so wild. It's like all of this is just beyond all my wildest dreams. I'm, yeah, I really have no words. I didn't know about the billboard until like a few days before we were heading to LA for the premiere, which was also just a mind-boggling, wild experience. And yeah, it was all just, it's so wonderful. I don't even, it's really weird seeing your face on a billboard. And it's, especially the billboard, because a lot of the marketing material, it's my face, but it's like a really blown out version of my face where you wouldn't really be able to tell. Like my friends know it's me, but anyone else is like not going to recognize me on the street or something. But the billboard is just my face. And like now there's more posters that are just my face. And it's just really weird. It's really weird and really wonderful. And I'm so grateful. Thank you, Neon, for choosing my face.
Sarah, it was so great to talk to you. I'm really excited for more people to see this movie. I think it's a pretty cool experience. So again, thank you so much for your time and for joining us today.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Drew. Thank you for having me.